redacted
Exactly.
the names. They
Who
redacted the names.
should we be arresting? Exactly.
I love to know. Why are all the names redacted from the file?
I'll actually tell you. And if you had done your due diligence, you would know this.
Oh, because they're victims.
No.
I got arrested 4 times for this guy, spent months in prison for this guy, did everything for this guy, censored, lawsuit, everything, lost all my social media, kept supporting him. And then what is the one recognition I get from him? Fuck you, shut up.
Tonight's topic is, has Trump's presidency been successful? I'm going to start by introducing the affirmative speaker for that question. He is known for his high energy and sharp debate style, which has gotten him invited to elite podcast platforms such as the Joe Rogan Experience and the PBD podcast. He is also the leader of the organization known as The Crucible. Please join me in welcoming Andrew Wilson.
Smoky man bad, they cry, they shout. Smoky man bad, but he snuffs them out. With a flick of his wrist, a puff of his plan, he left through the hay. Smoky man bad. The air is thick with his nicotine.
With that, we'll be introducing the negative position for tonight's
Proud of
debate.
himself smoking cigarettes. That's what's up.
He is best known as a bold and outspoken political commentator, recognized for his energetic presence and his coverage of current events across major platforms. He has been a prominent voice with InfoWars and continues to engage millions through his independent content and reporting. Please join me in welcoming Owen Shroyer.
The fuck, they blotted this motherfucker's music out when he was coming on? What the hell's going on here? Hey, two you motherfuckers in. Get in here, subscribe, guys. Love you guys. Hey, I got a Phantasm real quick. Let me open this. See if I get it here real quick. Hit that like, double tap that screen,
For
guys.
tonight's format,
Yo, they blocked his
we will
music
have
off.
5
Fucking
minute
walking in.
opening,
His entrance
followed
music.
by 5-minute rebuttals,
That's fucked up.
a crossfire section of 40 minutes,
Nothing.
followed by audience Q&A for
Nothing.
30 minutes, and
Oh,
then
well, oh,
10-minute
restaurant. That's pretty
closings.
cool looking.
With that, I have the timer set. to
Hey, what up, kid?
Affirmative going first. Andrew, the floor
Get in here,
is yours.
subscribe, guys.
First and foremost, thanks all
Hang
of
out
you
with
for
me. Let's
being
listen to
here.
this couple
And
dumb
before we do
motherfuckers
anything
debate.
else, we got the legend Owen Shroyer. Can we give him a round of applause? That said, you're still going to get stomped.
I have no idea what the fuck any of that means, bro.
First and foremost,
Hit that subscribe, though.
let me clear up any misrepresentation when it comes to my views. I am anti-Zionist and anti-Christian Zionist especially. I have done many debates on the topic, and I've won them all. I'm also very anti-Islam and consider the ideology just as poisonous as the ideology of Zionism, especially Christian Zionism. I am not a war supporter in Iran, and I never have been. I say this at the beginning of the debate, so when bad faith trolls who are on foreign accounts try to influence American politics in the comments, claiming that I'm in some way a Zionist, pro-Israel, pro-Islam shill, you can shatter the lies by simply showing them the beginning of this debate, which they won't even watch. And you and I can laugh at their stupidity together. That said, I also don't believe Jews or Arabs are ontologically evil just because they are Jewish or Arabic. I represent a worldview, and I believe there are stupid and evil ideologies in this world, and those are the things I debate against and resist on a political level. Today we debate if Trump has been successful as a president. Usually I would clear this up.
What do you guys think in the chat? What do you guys think?
Owen. But we seem to have the same general notion about what success means and doesn't mean, so we will just get right to the heart of the debate. I'd like to begin by pointing out that Trump stopping two different left-wing women from becoming president and being the first president who's a woman should immediately default him to the position of a successful president. As just that alone saved the nation from years of torment and suffering from the most insufferable vocal fried women the world has ever seen. That alone, I feel like, wins me the debate, but there's so much more.
All right.
Starting on the pro-Christian side, office of faith, though I don't like who's in it, I like there's an office for it. Affirmed via executive order there are two genders and revoked the idea of gender being different from sex. He signed an executive order stopping trans-surgical chemical alterations of children. He made Christmas Eve and the day after Christmas federal holidays affirming Christian beliefs as the ones we celebrate. He signed an executive order to eradicate anti-Christian bias in the government. He expanded school choice via executive order so we could remove our children from indoctrination center of atheists. He signed an executive order expanding Christian participation in adoption. He reinstated the Mexico City policy blocking U.S. tax dollars from promoting abortions in other nations.
Hey, welcome in, guys. Hit that. Double tap that screen for me, guys, please. Double tap that screen. I got a Desperate Rivals right here. Let's see if I can get it. This is my last pack. And that's sad as fuck.
He supported religious charter
Last
schools.
pack, look. Come on. Give me that YouTube.
Some of his policies.
Nothing fucking, no big deal.
Domestically, his most major
Desperate Rivals been doing me dirty.
Immigration negative. More immigrants leaving than coming. Both legal and illegal, which was his primary function in office from the standpoint of voters. And this is one of the
hey, thanks for the thumbs up. I love you.
Currently, with limited exceptions, the Cato Institute, very pro-immigration, had to admit themselves that Trump has limited legal immigration even more than illegal immigration, negating the base fear from his own base that he would stop illegal immigration, ramp up legal immigration. He hasn't. Over 130,000 less per month just on the legal side. Real wage growth is up 1.3% under Trump. It was negative under Biden. The federal workforce down 10%, which is excellent. Crime is down across the nation. Even Owen agrees with that. The Overton window has shifted right on most national conversations, including LGBTQ and transgender ideology. This isn't even getting into the historic court cases like Roe v. Wade and Chevron, which undid huge injustices in the United States. These are just some of Trump's accomplishments among many. I just can't list them all due to time. The idea of Owen Shroyer and many other anti-Trump right-wingers is accelerationism. The glaring logical hole, of course, in that is all that happens is Democrats get power, make life worse for everybody, and then they just run back to Republicans to fix everything the Democrats did, and the entire time is spent by Republicans cleaning up the mess that Democrats left with us. It doesn't work.
Who's the camera guy that's on him?
System, ensuring Democrat control by denouncing Trump and Republicans just assures a packed Supreme Court, outrageous censorship, mass migration, expansion of gay agenda, feminism, and the movement of an anti-Christian and anti-Christ-driven world. You guys seem to forget we had Biden. It was awful. And rather than continue his policies, people elected Trump en masse because life under Democrats is fucking awful. Now, you aren't going to get everything you want out of any administration. Trump is way too pro-feminist, pro-gay, and pro-Zionist for my personal liking, but we all knew that going in. He was still vastly superior to the alternative to Democrats and their cohorts, especially Harris, who want to roll back tax breaks and tax as an offset instead of tariffs, which is Democrat policy as usual. We knew Trump was pro-Israel. He moved the embassy to Jerusalem and tore up the Iran deal first time around. We knew this was part of what we were getting when we elected him, including Owen Shroyer, who, by the way, was put in solitary confinement by Democrats and held, in my opinion, as a political prisoner. That's what's in store for us under Democrats. I will cede no ground to Democrats under any circumstances.
Hey, shout out to you. Thanks for that thumbs up. Fucking love you guys.
There's nothing. You cannot give Democrats power, period. And with that, I'll cede the rest of my time, but just note that progressive ideology is always waiting to strike, and going against Trump is not going to help against that fight.
Bro, licking his boots isn't going to help either.
We'll kick it over to Owen for his opening as well.
Well, the premise of this debate is, has President Trump been successful or not? The premise is not, are the Democrats a bad political party? I think that we all agree with that. So that is not the premise of the debate. And I feel that the very fact that we are having this debate shows that there is at least room for consideration that the Trump administration has not been successful. And while you do list off things that Trump has been successful on, and I will give credit to this administration on securing the border and lowering crime rates, quickly on those issues though, these are not things that we should have to beg for. These are not things that we should have to consider a success. These should be things that are considered a standard. So really that's more of a story of how corrupt our country has become, which gets to what this administration was supposed to be all about. It was supposed to be addressing the corruption head on in that collision and destroying it in the process. And I think it's fair to say that at least to this point, it's not happening. But here's some of the other issues that I think are going to be more important when it comes to, is Trump going to be successful? The economy. The vast majority of Americans still believe the economy is heading in the wrong direction. We have more Americans that are living paycheck to paycheck today than any other time in recent history. And as everybody is well aware, our national debt continues to go to record highs. But it's not just the country that's in debt. The average citizen is in debt. It's so bad now that people are having to take out payment plans for pizza delivery. Now, you might not want to blame all of that on President Trump, and perhaps that's fair.
What?
This is the economy ongoing.
No, you can't have pizza if you got to take out a fucking payment plan. Nah. Nah, you don't get pizza.
The planet, we have billions of dollars to spend on that, while the average American continues to struggle. So the economy, I don't think you can claim has been a success. Tied into that is Doge, the Doge cuts. Elon Musk believed we could get $1 trillion in Doge cuts annually. We got a couple 10 million, and they stopped that. There's not going to be any Doge stimulus checks, whether you wanted that or not. So Doge getting cut out cold, I think, was a major failure. Barack Obama has deported more Americans than Donald Trump. Now, we might get into the details of that today. I will spare those details for the opening. I'm sure that this will come back up, but yet that fact remains. What about the deep state? President Trump himself has posted about treasonous politicians more times than we can count. So if there's politicians that are treasonous and you are the president, then I have to ask, where are the arrests? That's kind of the biggest crime you can commit in this country, and yet nobody has been arrested.
Where's the arrest?
Getting started on the Epstein clients, which are apparently a hoax one day, and then the next day Melania Trump is addressing the nation on how the victims of the hoax need to speak to Congress.
Yeah, that was weird.
I'm not sure where we want to go with that, but either way, no deep state arrests. Where are all the Epstein pedophile arrests? We're not getting those. These are things that people anticipated, and yet there's no success there either. And by the way, as you mentioned, Trump's victory over the liberal women, which I think we'll all agree was a major victory, he was not the president when that happened. He's never won an election as president. Just thought I'd point that out. As far as the office of faith is concerned, it seems to be going about the same way of the Board of Peace. Nothing but vanity, no real results. You talk about the anti-Christian bias that they're fighting, yet look at who Trump is working with now. He's making sure that Karine Jean-Bowler kicked off of the Religious Liberties Commission for her political takes. Yet Laura Loomer, who is a vehement anti-Muslim, anti-Catholic psychotic, somehow has the ear of President Trump. So I'm not sure if that's really working for the anti-Christian. You know, wage growth, that's going to be an interesting one. I'm sure we're going to get more into that. But I think it goes back to the general economic picture that whether it's Trump or anybody else, Americans are still struggling. And I think if we be honest here, if we're going to be honest, a lot of this economy is actually Trump's fault. And I know he likes to blame it on Biden. But if you go back and look at it, it was the COVID economy that caused the permanent damage. It was the COVID economy that resulted in 10 to 15 to 20% inflation. Those are Trump's policies. Now, Biden was obviously a disaster. I'm not here to promote anything Biden did, but that was the Trump economy. The COVID economy is the Trump economy. Now, as far as accelerationism is concerned, I don't believe I have ever publicly supported that. I do understand the concept. I understand why people like it. I'm not here because I want Democrats to win. And I think this is a very important statement for me to make because much like in your opening statement, you wanted to clarify some things that people get wrong about you, I want to clarify this. I do not want Democrats to win. As has already been documented in this debate, Democrats have put me in prison. In fact, I was put in jail 4 times for supporting President Trump, including the last one when I was put in solitary confinement. So believe me, I know how dangerous the Democrats are. The problem is, it's not up to me. This is Trump. If Trump cannot get the Republicans over the finish line in the midterms, that has nothing to do with podcasters, it has nothing to do with accelerationists, and it has everything to do with President Trump and the GOP. And ultimately, that's going to be the major measuring stick as to whether or not he's successful.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that 5-minute opening as well. We'll jump into the 5-minute rebuttals. The timer is set for you, Andrew.
Yeah, so this is just straight time, right?
You said straight time?
Yeah, so 5 minutes each?
Yep.
Okay, gotcha. So let's go through a bunch of this stuff. Let's start with the economy. He seems to be pretty upset about the economy and says that it's all Trump's fault. In some ways, he's correct. and in many ways he's not correct. So progressives warned us of this, right? Progressives said, if you cut all this immigration, GDP go down. Why? Because they have an influx of cheap labor, right? You have cheap labor that comes in that artificially keeps the wages depressed for corporations. They can then sell you things and goods for cheaper. Pretty simple, right? So what does Trump do? Stops all this mass migration. Prices go up. I'm stunned. We were forewarned of this for years by the opposite side, by progressives. And so what's hilarious about this is that, yeah, it is in fact going to be the case that if American companies have to start paying fair wages to American citizens, prices are going to go up. But you can't have.
Oh, hey, 14 of you motherfuckers gonna hit that like and subscribe, guys. I wish I had some more Pokemon cards, but I don't.
And I want all my goods and services cheap. It's not going to work that way. How can it? Can you explain to the audience?
Hey, here's a thumbs up. I love you guys.
What the Shroyer policy would be to offset that? No, you can't, because you wouldn't have one. You're going to have to eat shit on that. One way or the other, you're going to have to.
You have to eat shit on it.
The other problem is, he says there's a war on the other side of the planet. That's true. There is. It's been going on for about 7 weeks. That's about it. 7 weeks. That's our big. Hang on, it's my rebuttal time.
Hey, didn't he say it was going to be 4 days?
7 weeks. Not quite the forever war that we were promised from the other side. And it seems to be ramping down. Not only that.
No, it doesn't. What the fuck are you talking about?
What we find is that most of the exports in oil are going from China. They're going to China. How does it not behoove the United States strategically to do something about that? Of course it does. And we can dive into that too in the open back and forth. Now, I'm not a big supporter of foreign wars, especially not in Iran. I'm not making any excuses for it. I'm just pointing out something which is obvious. He also says Elon Musk did Doge cuts. Were Democrats going to do Doge cuts? No. Trump made that promise, and that's exactly what they tried to do. He's been hamstrung at every level. This guy has 3 times the amount of court cases against him as any other president does in the last
fucking wonder why.
Years. It's ridiculous. Democrats hamstring him at every corner. So as we go through this, let's talk about Epstein. That's another big one. With Epstein, you have to separate mythology, the actual mythology of Epstein, from the facts of Epstein. To hear the other side tell it, there is a global pedophilic satanic organization which runs the United States. The evidence they have for that? Fucking nothing. They have nothing. They have no evidence whatsoever. Guarantee you he won't be able to provide us with any evidence for that. Not a single shred. Not only that, I'll tell you something really interesting. I do know of a satanic type religion of pedophiles, and right this second, Trump's blowing them up. Right this second, as we speak, he blew up their leadership.
Oh, hell no. He's talking about Muslims.
Marriage, child marriage, as young as 9 years old,
bro.
inside of Iran.
You're dirty, Angel.
Killing them, overwhelming. You want to talk about pedophiles? Let's talk about pedophiles. Where are they at? I can tell you who we're blowing up right now.
Yo, why are you talking about those pedophiles over there? What about the pedophiles over here? What the fuck?
That's what he's doing currently. So it's really funny to me, the Epstein people, hey, wait a second, we're totally anti-pedophile, this is ridiculous, there's pedophiles at the top levels, they have no evidence for that, and yet if we just look not too far away, we see that there's an entire nation of pedophiles. Do you mind doing trade with them? Right? Owen Shroyer recently said, I don't care why, or he said in his debate with Shavos, why is it that Iran is not allowed to have a nuke but Israel is? What are you advocating for there? That a whole country full of pedophiles is allowed to have a nuclear bomb? Why should we allow that?
Yo, that's wild. A whole country full of pedophiles. Wow,
Moving through some of these other problems, he says the problems Republicans, podcasting means nothing. When we're talking about Trump, especially in his second term, podcast meant everything. In fact, Kamala Harris said it herself. Joe Rogan. And the fact that Trump went on Joe Rogan really helped push him over the top. Harris regretted the fact she didn't do the podcast syndicated radio shows. He didn't do the podcast circuit. She didn't do any of that. She regretted it. She said that she regretted it. She even blamed Myron Gaines, a podcaster, for parts of her loss. She blamed him.
I like Myron.
Him and the evil manosphere, because they don't want women to be president. Like somebody else who's on the stage right now. So as we go through this, I'm kind of happy. I'd like to get into the back and forth as quick as we can so that we can see if any of these criticisms actually hold muster. He says he's not addressing corruption. Yeah, he's not addressing corruption head on. It's like, wait a second. What do you mean? He's going after the SPLC right this second, as we speak. Super corrupt organization, which was working with the deep state, by the way. Just pointing that out.
With that, we'll kick it over to Owen for his 5-minute rebuttal as well. Floor is all yours, Owen.
What you got, Owen?
All right. Well, as far as when this war started, obviously there's a lot of contention in the geopolitical debate realm, but at least for this administration, it started last June with Operation Midnight Hammer. And since then, we haven't gotten a lick of honesty, because we were supposed to have annihilated, or obliterated was the official word from the president, their nuclear capabilities. And then they came back a few months later and said Iran was weeks away, days away from a nuke. And so now we're over there again. And I think to most people, they perceive this war, I think accurately, as just another regime change war. Now, you may not care for Iran's leadership. You're not going to get any pushback from me on any of that. And yet the facts remain. This was a regime change war. They lied to us about it from the very beginning. There is a major contingency of Trump's voting base that voted for no new wars. It was part of the campaign promise. In fact, Trump himself, for decades, has been talking about how we've wasted blood and treasure in the Middle East, wasted it, his own words. He ran against Bush's wars in his first campaign in 2015 and 2016. And
I remember all of that.
Specifically, no more regime change.
That's exactly why
wars.
the fuck he got into office, right
That's
there.
just a total reversal of policy on that.
And then
this
just
has
flipped.
people wondering who's making these decisions. I don't need to get into
Fucking
that now.
180, fuck
but we're not
everybody.
even getting consistency on the messaging in the last couple of weeks. The strait is closed. It's not closed. We've won the war. The war is not over. We need to go in. Nobody really knows. And by the way, I think Trump does that strategically. But nonetheless, the truth is that we don't get any honesty from this administration. It just doesn't add up. And as far as the strategy with China and Russia, I'd like to think that this is all going to work out in our favor. I'd like to think that that's the play that Trump is making. However, it doesn't appear to be going in our favor. I think that most of the world is looking at the foreign policy of this administration, and they're seeing it as very, very favorable to Israel, which is essentially a pariah of the entire international community. And so instead of perhaps these countries maybe driving away from Russia and China, I think they're driving to China and Russia and away from the United States because of Trump's aggression, again, in the Middle East, as the world views it, on behalf of Israel. As far as the Dems, hamstringing Trump, I think that happened a lot in the first administration. I'm not really seeing as much of it in this administration. But this gets back to the deep state. I thought we were talking about criminals. I thought we were talking about the Obama administration committing treason. We were talking about them illegally spying. And yet now President Trump says, I'm okay to give up my liberties for safety. I'm okay with them illegally spying on you. That doesn't really sit well with me. And I think the Dems are going to look at that very favorably when we get to the midterms. Israel does have a nuke. It is it's a violation of the nuclear proliferation agreement. They're not supposed to have one. Everybody knows that.
I had no idea they were allowed to have one. What the fuck?
Because they have a nuclear weapon, but somehow they're above all of these rules. Now, again, I'm not here to take any ground in defense of Iran, but I will point out the fact that Israel is famous for repatriating pedophiles. That is a fact.
That's a fact.
Everybody knows it. American pedophiles.
That is a fact. American pedophiles just run to fucking Israel.
Flee to Israel and get safe harbor there. We have many, many instances of this. Now, the Epstein files, I don't know how deep we want to go into this. This one is a little confusing to me. You say, show me evidence that there is a pedophile ring. Well, I would slap down on the table, not even 50% of the Epstein files. We don't even know how many we've gotten, but it's 50% max. There's not a single Iranian in the files. Not a single one. Now, there is a certain group of people that are in there, but we don't even know that. But they all are rich. And they're not in prison. And that's where they should be. So I don't really want to have to think about Iran's cultural issues. These are Americans and people that were using them for blackmail to get leverage over our country. That's how most people perceive these Epstein files, of which we don't even have the entire files. But in them, we see references, what appear to be killing people, taking women, young women, babies as sex slaves. Who knows what else is going on in these files? There's very obvious code language. I know this. if I was able to get one of my kids' cell phones and I'm reading through this cell phone and they keep talking about pizza and grape soda and jerky, I'm going to pull one of them aside and I'm going to say, hey, what are you talking about? And if they say, oh, I'm just a pizza connoisseur, me and my friends just make beef jerky and eat grape soda, I'm going to say, bullshit. Tell me what the hell you're talking about. If I see you saying, I'm going to get pot from my friend, I know you're not talking about a potted plant. I know you're talking about drugs. So it's obvious the same thing is going on in these emails. Where is the investigation? If your kid brought that to you, you would not believe them for 1 second. You'd say this is clearly code language and I'm going to investigate what it is. I think we should continue to investigate these Epstein files instead of continuing to cover them up, because I do think there is a there,
like that.
as most other Americans do,
Continue
and that's
looking
something
at
that
that
Trump
shit. What the
campaigned on
fuck?
and many of his administration talked about for years.
And with that, we're going to jump into the crossfire. This is 40 minutes, so this is fully up to you guys. If it gets too rocky, I'm going to jump in and put it into 90-second responses. So the floor is yours, gentlemen, for open dialogue.
So I wanted to start, if we could, with Israeli repatriation of pedophiles.
They about to
So
start arguing with
you
the
and I both
motherfucker,
agree
I know
that
it.
This happens and it's abhorrent. Do you know that what the numbers are, roughly?
The last story I read was a CBS story. It was a couple dozen, I think.
I think total that I could find, as being as much as charitable to your use I could, it's about 200. That's a lot. It's a significant amount. But it's nothing in comparison to the Catholic Church. Nothing. Which is somewhere around 100,000 children, perhaps, or more.
God damn.
When we talk about this idea of pedophilia here in the United States, Owen, this is my big issue with this, is that there's always a red herring, right? The red herring is, well, Israel repatriates pedophiles. It's like, yeah, that's true. So does the United States in a way, though. We have passport bros who they go to Malaysia, they have sex with underage kids, and then they come back here. The same exact principle applied. The only difference is there's no official right of return. There doesn't need to be. They're already U.S. citizens. But when we're talking about this, we know where the groups of pedophiles are. We've known this for years. The Catholic Church, for instance, again, part of one of the largest pedophilic scandals in the world. Which church do you belong to again? Is it Catholic?
I have no qualms with what you're saying about the Catholic Church, whether I identify as one or not. So go ahead. I will sit here all day as a confirmed Catholic and ridicule their pedophilia.
Yeah, I'm
No
just saying
problem.
that when you use the red herring of the Israeli repatriation...
How is it a red herring if it's true?
Because, the red herring happens when
Didn't you
say...
admit it's hundreds?
When you say, hey, wait a second, yeah, hundreds.
So it's a real thing, so it's not a red herring.
No, the red herring portion of it is when you obfuscate away from the arguments on the Epstein files, as though there's a global cabal of pedophiles. I point out in Iran, there's an open cabal of pedophiles. You say, well, Israel harbors pedophiles too. It's like, no.
Oh,
they
fuck
don't have
you, Andrew.
official policy for pedophilia, dude. They
Hold on a
don't.
second. You just
They don't.
admitted. You're talking about people that have been actually charged with crimes of pedophilia that Israel knowingly takes in. So they are very
That's not
well
in every instance. That's
So they are
some-
very well aware.
Sometimes it's suspected. One of the big key ones was an Australian case, I'm sure you're familiar with. That was one of the big key ones, but it's not always the case that they're charged with anything. They're lost
Bro,
or
you're a
just suspected
pedophile
of it.
There was just
The same way that the
an
United
idea. There
States
was
is
just an
suspected-
idea. Hold on.
Yeah,
There was just
go
an
ahead.
IDF security official, Alexandrovich, who just got charged, caught in a bust, and he fled over there. He's gone.
Of course, but you're going to
So
find...
give me a comparable story this year to the
You
Catholic
can find
Church.
the same thing.
Show me the Catholic
Perhaps.
Church. Show me the Catholic Church finding a pedophile and saying, "Come to the Catholic Church."
They moved them to other churches. What are you talking about?
So
to
show me.
allow them to continue to offend hundreds of thousands of cases.
So
What do
show
you
me.
mean?
Show me one name.
I'm supposed to remember every name of every
I
bishop?
just gave you one name in the last year. Tom Alexandrovich, IDF
Are you
security
denying
official,
that the
fled to
Catholic
Israel.
Church doesn't move around pedophiles?
No, I just said they do. I
Then
can talk
why
about
are
the
you-
Catholic Church all day
then-
long.
then why are you
But we're
arguing-
talking about the Trump administration dealing with the Epstein files. That's
Yep.
what we're talking about.
So as we're diving into the Epstein files, give me your biggest piece of proof that Donald Trump in any way knew about any pedophilia, and name actual names of people who you're willing to say are pedophiles in that administration. Go ahead.
Okay, I never made either one of those claims.
Exactly.
But I will respond to your question. Howard Lutnick lied when he said he hadn't been to the island since he found out. He got caught lying. He took his family there. This was after Epstein had already been a convicted pedophile. Now, if Donald Trump wants to claim he has plausible deniability as far as Epstein's activities are concerned, I suppose that's fair
Are you
enough.
even claiming that guy's a pedophile?
Well, you know what? If you want to talk about the things Trump has said about
Hang on,
his daughter,
answer the question
Ivanka,
before
we
you
can
go
talk
off
about
the-
it. We can talk
answer
about
the
Donald
question.
Trump. Hold on a second.
Are you going to call that guy a pedophile?
Have
or
I
no?
called Trump a pedophile once?
Well, this is why I'm getting clarification.
The answer is no.
Yeah, the reason I'm getting
The answer is
clarification
no.
is because on the Epstein files, people refuse to separate mythology from fact. And there's a lot of mythology here. And this mythology that you guys continuously talk about, that Trump is in some way associated with this global cabal of satanic pedophiles, but you never name names, you never give evidence. Your only evidence is they don't give us evidence. Why would you trust the evidence that these people give you anyway? Why would you even trust that anyway? You don't trust them, the evidence that they've given you so far. So why is it always the demand is like, I want endless evidence of a thing that we always make claims about, but can never demonstrate? Why?
So Trump is obviously maybe mentioned more than anyone else in the files. If you want to claim that he has nothing to show illegal in the files, that's fine. Howard Lutnick, however, lied when he said he hadn't been there. He is still in the Trump administration. He was just running point for their meeting at the Oval Office just last week. And he's in the files taking his kids to Epstein Island. So would you take your kids to Epstein Island?
Well, okay, so are you saying at the time there was media scrutiny that this was a pedophilic island?
Yes, 100%. 100%. Epstein had already been charged. He'd already been in jail.
Are you saying this guy took his kids to the island to get them raped?
I don't know when he took his kids to the
Yeah,
island.
you
He
don't
denied
know.
it. He
By the
denied
way,
it.
by the way,
He denied
this again,
He
is
lied.
absence of evidence means that that's evidence. That's not evidence.
No,
You
no,
guys
no. Did
never
Howard
will
Lutnick,
actually
hold on.
name.
Did Howard Lutnick go to the island?
I'm not sure.
He admitted it. He's in the files.
Yeah,
He
I'm
took
not,
his kids.
I'm not sure on that particular. But it's irrelevant, the particular, because even if I grant the particular, you won't actually call the guy pedo. Because you don't have evidence. You never have evidence, just claims. Claim.
Bro, the
no
evidence is
for it.
fucking
Now, I'm
redacted.
willing to cede a bunch of points to you. If you can show me some evidence.
Bro,
of
you're a
it, happy
pedo
to do it.
protector,
So
Andrew.
Trump was
What
right.
the fuck? I had a lot of respect for you,
Trump was actually
Andrew.
right. He claimed that the Democrats were going to use the talking point
Fag.
that, Trump's a pedophile, Trump's covering for pedophiles, the whole 9 yards. He says, yeah, that's a hoax. Whole thing's a damn hoax. And it is. The whole damn thing is a hoax. They've been calling this guy a pedophile. You just said he's named in the, how many times is he named in the Epstein files? That's a Democrat talking point. But what's he named in the Epstein files for actually doing? What?
Well, there are FBI investigations that have some pretty serious claims. They never
Not
manifested
credible.
anything.
They
That's fine.
literally
That's
say
fine.
not credible.
So we're not here to have a debate over the Epstein files. But I
You brought
do,
it up as
but
a
I
reason
do
he's a
find it
failure.
odd. No, you are the one that brought it up. But I do find it odd that you're going to pretend like Howard Lutnick didn't lie about going to the island after Epstein was
I'll
convicted
even
and took his
see
kids.
the point.
Are you
Even if
going to
I
tell
do
me?
see
Hold
the
on a
point,
second.
it doesn't help your
Are
point.
you going to tell me? Are you going to tell me that Donald Trump was not friends with Jeffrey Epstein?
He was initially friends with
Okay.
Jeffrey
So-
Epstein.
so
but
he is-
he also banned him from his properties.
That's fine, and he might have helped bring him in.
hang on. He banned him from his properties, and he was also front and center at pointing out to people that Epstein was a creep. That's one. And two, everything that's mentioned in the files, Michael Tracy has done great work on this. He's gone through them ad nauseum.
So
The
have I.
things which are put in there about Trump are ridiculous on their face.
Hold on
And
a
claims from various people about Trump are noted inside of these files most of the time as being not credible at all.
Here's what's credible. Alex Acosta is the one that cut Jeffrey Epstein his sweetheart deal. It was so bad of a deal that they had to re-examine it and re-arrest Jeffrey Epstein and put him back in jail in New York City.
Which
where he
administration did that
ultimately-
happen
Where he
under?
was ultimately killed.
Yeah, which administration did that happen under?
The Trump administration.
That's right, he got
which is actually
rearrested
starting to
under the
look a
Trump
little more
administration.
suspicious. It's actually starting to look a little more suspicious
What?
now. Yeah.
How is that more suspicious? So
He died in jail.
What administration?
How
did
did he die
Acosta?
in jail?
What administration did Acosta?
Trump's.
Was he in when he cut the deal?
He wasn't in office. Trump wasn't in office.
Whose administration? Whose administration was that under?
Obama.
Obama. So Obama, we have Acosta, goes ahead and gives him the sweetheart deal, right, under Obama. Under the Trump administration, they rearrest Jeffrey Epstein. Isn't that amazing? The guy protecting the pedophiles.
So the person that Trump brought into his administration is the one that cut Jeffrey Epstein a sweetheart deal that no pedophile, child sex trafficker has ever seen before in their life. Such a sweetheart deal, they had to rearrest him again.
Yeah, they have seen it before in their life. First
So
of
look,
all,
whether
he
Trump-
wasn't even
hold on.
accused of pedophilia. What he was accused of was localized trafficking in Florida. And yes, people have been cut sweetheart deals for that. You're full of it.
Okay, so your stance is...
That's
so you're
disgusting,
talking
bro. What
about-
the
So
fuck?
your stance is Epstein was not a pedophile and there's nothing in the Epstein files. Because I don't want to debate this the whole time.
I didn't say that. My stance is that there's bold claims which are made, and I can see you running from it. I don't blame you for running from the claims.
This isn't the
But
debate.
you
I'm not
don't
here
have
to- I mean,
evidence.
you're on
Is it a failure of
This
Trump
is
or not?
worse. Absolutely.
Well, then it's
Absolutely.
part of the
There
debate.
should be dozens of them.
Right.
And there's part
They
of the
are
debate.
literally
Of who?
covering it up.
Tell me
Exactly. They've redacted
Exactly.
the names. They've
Who should
redacted the names.
we be arresting? Exactly.
I'd
What
love
does
to
that
know.
mean?
Why are all the names redacted from the files?
Because
Why haven't they
I'll
given
tell
us
you.
all the files?
I'll actually tell you. And if you had done your due diligence, you would know this.
Oh, because they're victims.
No. Because victims advocacy groups and lawyers have tied this thing up like nobody's business. And again, Michael Tracy's done the
And no
research on
pedophiles
this.
go to jail.
Which pedophiles should go to jail?
The ones that they've redacted. So
What are their names?
So Epstein trafficked kids to Nova.
What are their names? They're
So
redacted, you
what's getting-
fucking
so
retard.
Epstein-
Glenn was trafficking kids to
Oh,
him.
this
Okay, so
motherfucker's
Epstein
retarded,
raped all
bro.
kids, no one else did.
Name a single
Hey,
person who
Ghislaine's
trafficked
getting
kids
fucking
to.
pardoned
They're
here
all
soon, too.
redacted
That's
from
fucking
the
wild.
files. What are
The
you talking about?
files
You
don't
can
even
see-
indicate
You
that.
can
Who?
see in the emails, he says, I have girls. How old do you want them? I have girls. I don't like yellow. I want Russian. It's all right there.
That's not him. There's nothing to do with pedophilia. As far as you're, you
Aw, you are a
So-
pedo
so- so
protector,
you know what
bro.
Wait a second. Absence of evidence is not evidence. Do you agree with that?
No, I'm using your logic against you. If you're saying
My
it
logic
doesn't
works
prove
for me
anything.
and not for you.
Okay, so I'll accept this because I don't want to debate. So Epstein was not a pedophile. He was not trafficking children, anybody. He was not friends with
I'm
Trump.
willing to see
They're
that
not
Trump-
covering up
I'm
evidence.
willing
They're
to
not
see-
covering up the files.
I'm willing to see the distinction between the mythology of Epstein trafficking children to all of these various pedophiles is a mythology. I'm also willing to see that Epstein himself may very well have been a pedophile, but it seemed like the trafficking was going to him. And you have no proof to the alternative of that. And even when you point at Acosta,
So what does that
this happens
do?
under Obama, rearrested under Trump. Trump's the only one who released any Epstein files at all, signed in the Epstein Transparency Act.
Yeah,
Congress also
after
pushed for it.
they redacted them for weeks, they still haven't
Because of
released
victims.
everything. They still haven't released everything, by the way.
How would Trump unredact them? Can you explain that to me?
Well, they shouldn't be redacted at all.
Yeah, but how would Trump unredact them?
Well, it's actually pretty easy. I think he calls them and says, "Hey,
No.
unredact these."
No. That's the judicial branch. That's a different branch of government.
And he can call them and tell
Trump's
them to
allowed
do
to do that with classified documents. Not allowed to do that with redactions. Those redactions are going through the judiciary. So what should Trump do here?
He can easily declassify. He can usually release everything.
They're not classified. They're redacted.
Then why aren't they released?
He did release them.
Not
He
all
released
of them.
millions of documents.
Not all of them.
And not only that, again, how would he get them unredacted? Tell me.
Not even all of them. They're
Tell
not
me
even
how
all
would he get
released.
them unredacted? How?
It's very simple. You bring out the investigators and you simply read the names. They're redacted. That's all you got to
You
do.
mean like they did in front of a press club, and those poor guys who weren't actually pedophiles got
That was-
calls and threats and everything else?
that happened to one guy.
Yeah,
That
but I
happened to
mean,
one guy.
that's reading the names of people who aren't even related to it.
Okay,
And this
so-
is the problem,
So
man.
this is good. So you're satisfied with the Epstein
I
files?
didn't say satisfied, but I'm pointing out that I'm not willing to make claims that Donald Trump's a bad guy based on redactions that he's not responsible for. You can't tell me how he should unredact them. You can't tell me
It's
who
very simple. I
who
want
the
all the
victims
files.
are. You
Show
can't
me
tell me
all
any
the
of
files.
this.
I
What
do,
you mean? The victims
gentlemen,
go in front of
I
Congress
do
every
want
freaking day.
I only want to jump in just because, given that we have only 40 minutes for the open dialogue, though it's been epic so far, I just want to be sure if there are other topics you want to cover, we have 28 minutes left.
I would
Yeah.
say,
Can
I
we
would
move on
say
to the economy?
Epstein files is a debacle and a disaster for
The releasing of the Epstein files was a debacle. I agree with that. The problem is that what I'll never accept is lack of evidence being evidence of a thing. And while you pretend that there's a global pedophilic ring that you have no evidence of controlling the United States, I can show you a global pedophilic ring which exists right out in the open that Trump's blowing up right now.
So Epstein didn't put a bunch of security cameras in all of his places. That didn't happen. He wasn't working with Maxwell, the daughter of the top.
Yes, he
Israeli
worked with
spy.
Ghislaine Maxwell. Yes, there were security cameras in his various places. All of that is correct. That's, again, you asking
That's
questions,
evidence.
not providing evidence.
So why does he do that for?
Wait, there's cameras here. What's that
This
evidence
is an
of?
event. This is a televised
Yeah, but what's
event.
that- what's an evidence of?
Who is Epstein televising what's going on in his room?
He
to?
wasn't televising anybody. Got any proof?
So why are there cameras installed?
Because the same reason rich people have cameras all over their houses?
So he has them in all of his bedroom secret cameras?
What secret cameras? Can you show them?
Yeah, they're in the emails. He literally hired IDF security people to put secret cameras in all of his rooms.
No, no.
He had a damn security room with monitors in his mansion.
You're talking about one specific instance in one specific room, by the way, not on all of his properties and not in the Florida properties. And those are the ones where he got convicted of all these things. So what are you talking about? You're talking about a completely unrelated thing to what I'm asking you. Do you have evidence that Trump was part of a global pedophilic ring, or that anybody was?
Yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
Give me your best piece.
The Epstein files.
Best piece in the Epstein files.
The whole freaking thing. What are you talking about?
Nothing.
Okay, so hold on. So was Epstein convicted?
Not a pedophilia.
Yes, he was.
Okay, who?
Was Maxwell convicted?
I'm sorry.
Was Maxwell?
I'm sorry. When was Jeffrey Epstein convicted of pedophilia?
Epstein, jail. Maxwell,
when was
jail.
Epstein
John Luke
convicted of
Burnell,
pedophilia?
jail.
When was
Two of them committed suicide
when was Epstein
in jail.
convicted of pedophilia?
I think whatever the first charge was in 2007 in Florida.
That's not. He wasn't convicted for pedophilia.
Trafficking children is a pedophilia.
First of all,
so now you're saying Epstein wasn't a pedophile?
He was doing underage. There was one or two of the underage prostitutes that came from the school. That's true. But I think
that's underage.
I think they were 16, 17, not prepubescent children. It's a whole different ballgame. He wasn't convicted.
Yo, you're wild, bro. What the fuck?
So Epstein wasn't a pedophile. Glad we got there.
I didn't say Epstein wasn't a
I
pedophile.
pretty much
I said
already
you haven't
said
given us any proof he is. Got some?
Faggot.
Yeah, there's no proof Epstein wasn't a pedophile.
Oh, I'm going to use an argument from
He killed
ingenuity.
himself in jail, nothing to see here, and
No.
we should probably pardon Maxwell
I'm
too.
totally incredulous, but I have no evidence of my claims.
Just because the economy is another topic we might want to cover still while we have time. We do still have about 25 minutes.
Anyway, so I try to operate off a facts basis. What happened, I'll just sum this up real quick, and then I'll give you the last word on it, to be fair. I'll just summarize it very quickly on Epstein. Epstein very well could have been a pedophile, and likely was, himself a pedophile. But when you make these claims about demonic global pedophile rings which control the United States, yeah, I want fucking evidence. I do. And I'm not willing to throw the President of the United States that I voted for under the bus without any evidence. I'm not. So, you know, if you want to tie it off, you can.
Well, I'll just say, we also saw in the Democrat emails spirit cookings and children in the hot tub for entertainment. So, but there's no evidence of pedophile rings.
You're talking about Podesta spirit cooking?
I'm sure
The big art project
That's right,
spirit cooking?
Podesta, that's right.
Yes, Leon Podesta, who was part of a massive art project for spirit cooking, along with, how about we talk about Rocket Pizza? Did they have babies underneath there, Owen? Did they have children in the basement, Owen?
Good opportunity to go into the economy.
Yeah, all right. So, moving into this, I just got a single question for you. Owen, how would eliminating mass migration into a net negative not cause economic downturn or higher prices? How's that even possible?
Well, it's actually, there's a simpler fix to that, and that is you have to cut taxes. You have to cut them significantly. You have to cut them immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Americans are paying roughly 30% of the money that they make plus the property that they own. That number needs to be single digits tops. And a lot of Americans will have a little more money to take care of their bills and take care of their family, but we're not really having that happen. Now, I feel like this whole argument is assuming that Americans don't want these jobs.
No, it's assuming they do. In fact, my argument to you is just, I'll simply state it. If it's the case that we bring in, I don't know, 100,000 immigrants tomorrow to California, let's say, okay, and they're willing to take $10 an hour less than the Americans who are there, would you agree with me that that'll probably save you prices in goods and services from whatever that corporation is or company?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, probably. So like if you took McDonald's and you paid them $25 an hour, your cheeseburger's going to get more expensive. Do you agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
So you can offset that with immigrant labor. Do you agree that that's likely true?
Yes, but I don't believe that's the solution.
I agree with you. But if it is in fact the case that Trump is doing his job, which it seems like he is since we have negative net migration, why wouldn't it be the case that if we're deporting all these illegals and they're self-deporting in an overwhelming rate, of course your localized food prices are going to go up because most of these jobs are now going to Americans. In fact, this is exactly what Cato is saying. They're saying we're getting hurt mostly in the economy because Trump is not even letting legal immigrants come in. I thought that was what we wanted, man. We want to stop that legal and illegal immigration. But it's like, not if your fried chicken's going to go up 30 cents. What are you talking about? We want that, right?
Well, the deportation numbers are not where they need to be. I don't know how much that falls into the economic realm of things. Obama deported more people than Trump, so we're not.
There was a lot
getting
more
those
people
numbers.
to deport.
But I think that there's other reasons for that. I think that this gets into the, let's say, failures at the Department of Justice, which maybe they're just starting to get into with the SPLC, but I don't know. We'll see about that if we come back to that. We're being told as Americans, hey, buck up and pay more for gas. It's this war in Iran. You've got to buck up. It's your patriotic duty to pay more for gas. That is a war that's being fought in the foreign and special interest. Do you think Americans might be willing, instead of paying another extra $1 per gallon of gasoline, maybe an extra 10 cents for a cheeseburger if they know that that means Americans are taking the job? I mean, that's essentially what we're
But
being
most
asked.
Americans don't know that because even people on my side are running around saying Trump's not deporting enough people, even though we have a net negative in migration right now. Those
Well, we
jobs,
have a closed border.
hang on, those jobs, yes, a closed border and net negative migration, legal and illegal. More people are leaving than coming. That's for the first time we finally got that. It's like, yeah, prices are going to go up from that. You know this. Why not be honest with
prices
people?
went up
If
from-
that's the
prices-
case,
no,
and then we're
prices
talking
went
about
up from
gas. Hang on,
tariffs.
hang on, I'm almost done.
Prices went up from tariffs.
Okay,
Prices went up
you
from
want to get
energy.
into tariffs, we can do that in a second, but let's start with the gas prices. All you're doing is pitting Trump against Trump. On the Biden level, at his top, do you know what the gas prices were?
About right where they're at now?
No, way more. They were
Not way more.
over $5.50. Yeah, they're $1 cheaper right now at the peak Trump than they were at the peak of Biden.
Fucking what?
So you're only comparing Trump's gas prices to Trump's gas prices. Because if you compare them to the Democrat, they were still way higher. I mean, way higher. Now,
when did the price go up?
Trump speculation mostly.
No, when did the price go up?
Oh, I thought you said why did the price
No,
go
when?
up?
When did the
Well,
price-
the price has been going up steadily and decreasing
Since we
steadily.
attacked Iran.
Yes, correct. Due to what? Market speculation. And you can't control speculators, and neither can Trump. It's not because we have some shortage of oil. Where's our shortage? Nowhere. We're not getting oil from Iran. We don't even have the processors for their oil. That goes to China. So we have no shortage, but our oil prices go up. Why? Because of speculation. And you just completely omit that. Not only do you omit that, but you omit this other part, which is you still haven't explained how it is that we're going to have net negative migration and prices aren't going to go up. They are,
Hold on
right?
a second. Trump is the one that claimed that he could get gas prices down.
He
He's
did.
the one that made that claim.
And
It
he
hasn't
did.
happened.
If they're lower than Biden's peak by $1.
Oh my God.
No.
Yes.
Okay, but we don't even know if we've seen Trump's peak. If
Well,
this war in Iran doesn't
well,
end,
you can't just say, well, I'm incredulous, they may go up more. They're actually going down. They've been going down steadily.
gas
not up.
prices are going down?
Yes, they're going to be going down, yes. And speculators, by the way, are speculating that, which is why they're going to be going down. Interestingly enough, when we're talking about oil prices, though, and gas prices, yes, at Biden's peak, they were $1 more than they are the national average right this second as we're talking. I even made sure this morning before we came in, just to be sure. And yes, that is in fact the case. So it's like you're only comparing Trump to Trump, and even with him blowing the shit out of pedophiles in Iran, like the Ayatollah Khomeini, he still managed to give you $1 cheaper gas than Joe Biden did.
But you just said it wasn't Trump. You just said it was the speculators. Now you're giving credit to Trump. So I don't know what, I'd like a little consistency.
Okay, so wait a second. So you're going to blame it on Trump instead of the speculators, but when I say even under those circumstances it's $1 cheaper, that can't be because of Trump.
Let's
It's
be
like,
clear. No. Here's
I
my metric.
want the consistency.
No. Here's my metric.
Yeah.
Trump said on his campaign he would get gas prices down.
He did.
He hasn't done it.
Yes, he has.
He's even admitted that we had to take a detour off of America First to do this war. He said it's over, it's not a war,
He
it is
has
a war.
gotten
we won
the gas
war, but
prices
still,
down. What are
Gas
you
prices have
talking
gone
about?
up since we started the war.
Yes, gas prices went up when we started the war due to market speculation.
So Trump started
I
a war,
agree.
and now gas prices are higher. That's
Yeah,
the
but
fact.
you're only comparing Trump to Trump. And if you're going to compare him to
I'm
Biden,
comparing
gas
Trump,
is still
I'm
cheaper than the
comparing this
Democrats.
administration to this administration.
Exactly.
Gas prices have gone up
Uh-huh.
since he started this
Yes,
war.
and if you follow Trump's plan, gas prices are likely going to bottom out because he has control
I
over
hope.
oil there,
That's a nice
control
hope.
over oil in Venezuela.
That's a nice
He has
hope.
control over all of it.
Venezuela oil won't be ready for probably months.
But we still have control of it. What did I say? In the future it'll go down.
We'll see.
Why?
I hope that's the
Speculators
case.
say
I hope that's the case. But that's not the case right now. And Americans are struggling financially. And now here we are in another war in the Middle East, and we're sick of it.
Are you going to
We're
blame?
sick of it.
Are you going to blame market speculators?
I'm going to blame Trump for getting us into another war on Israel's behalf. Yes, I am going to blame Trump for that.
Okay.
He did that.
So help me out here. Can you tell me all of the downsides of Donald Trump killing pedophiles? In the
Yo.
United States?
You're
First
wild.
of all, do you know every single?
Hey, I don't know
were
if
those
anybody's
school
in, but I'm gonna
girls
get the
pedophiles?
fuck off. I love you guys. Have a great night.
The Iranian
Just no. We're the 200